that time didn't pass us by when we're on Mulholland Drive. I know it won't be long before dawn, gotta be patient for a while. Someday we'll look at stars in this same sky when I'm on the other side. Take me back to the life that we once knew, when the walls weren't closing in like they are now. 'Cause it's been too many years since California. I wish I could get there, I don't know how. See, one day I'm gonna reach ya, take a plane for many miles. We pretend that time didn't pass us by when we're on Mulholland Drive. I know it won't be long before dawn, gotta be patient for a while. Someday we'll look at stars in the same sky when I'm on the other side.
I'm Rob Wheely, and I'm the CEO of Alloy Wheel Repair Specialists. We're the world's largest provider of wheel refinishing, remanufacturing, and wheel replacement. My dad was a car enthusiast, always working on cars of his own and new projects. That passed down to me, and it still grows with me today. Wheels have become the jewelry of the car. People want their wheels to look nice. We provide basic refinishing of wheels. We have remanufacturing facilities that provide extensive repair. We also have put all of our processes through an independent facility that's accredited. You can find those certifications on our website. We do it all. You bring your wheel to us and we'll figure it out. We strive for not just customer service experience, but customer excellence. We want to wow them so they come back each and every time. All of our technicians are trained and certified. We even have a master training course. It's important to love what you do. It's important to make employees feel a part of the team, and they're seeing the same rewards as you do. That's what helps us accomplish our goal. Everybody's our customer. The retail public, dealerships, body shops, insurance companies, warranty companies. We have a claims department. We're the ones that they call to come in and repair it. So if you find yourself in need of wheel refinishing, wheel repair, wheel replacement, or if you just want to custom color your wheels, give us a call. We'll help you find the right location, or you can go to our website. There's a locator on there to find the location closest to you.
Hello everybody, welcome into the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series presented by the Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist here on Ghost Racing Network. We are in Richmond, Virginia for the Richmond Spring 200. Let's start tonight by getting right into your starting grid. These guys are only going to be taking 2 pace laps, and they are very short here at Richmond. Starting on the pole tonight, it is going to be Carl Dotson. Boy, this guy has really started to figure out how to beat a lot of these guys in qualifying, and now we'll see if he can figure it out tonight, get himself his first win of the season. Second is going to be Scott Naslin. Third, Brian Curry. Fourth, Tyler Marble for Team Marble iRacing. Fifth is going to be the first Mad Sim Racing driver in the field. That is Cody Richardson, and I do believe that is a season-best qualifying effort. 6, Austin Fitzgerald. Row 4 is going to be Jeff Barnes and Scott Glasso. Row 5, Joshua Watson, last week's winner, and another Team Marble iRacing driver. That is Jeff Marble to his outside. And 10th, 11th, Andrew Nieder. 12th is going to be Daytona winner Danny Gutierrez. 13th, Jacob Musso for the Musso Speed Shop. 14th, Jared Bundy. Row 8, Richard Elliott and Sean Kaltenbach. Row 9 is going to be Ryan Shiro and Kyle Oakley. 19th is going to be a new driver. That's Joseph Grujvala, I believe. And then 20, is Brian Conklin. 21st, Andrew Kotska. 24th, Cody Matthews. And 23rd, of course, so I just skipped over, is Cody Colley. 25th, Johnny McCallcheck. 26th, Eddie Musso. 27th, Todd Shiro. 28th, Ryan Haynes. 29th, Patrick Stein. 30th, Bill Benedict. 31st, Brian Watson. That is a JGR e-racing driver. He has another Musso Speed Shop driver to his outside. Joe Musso starts 32nd. 33rd, Jerry Isaacs. 34th, Glenn Grigsby. 35th, Alan Pajari. Moving back to the field, continuing, is 36th, Andy Tico. 37th, Jeffrey Souza. And rounding out the field tonight, and 38th is going to be Jeff Shutt in the 27 car. Getting more into your race info, of course, we are at Richmond Raceway here in Virginia for the Richmond Spring 200. We are in the NASCAR Cup Series, the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series to be exact, for 200 laps around this under mile racetrack. You see there, it's only 0.72 miles long. Track temp at 87 degrees, not going to affect these guys at all. 100% fuel, 3 sets of tires. No fast repair, and as always, open setups with 3 green-white checkers. Weather outside, 66 degrees, 32% humidity, partly cloudy skies, and winds are at 5 miles an hour. Let's get down trackside where Carl Dotson is making his way now into turn 3 as the pace car pulls off, getting ready to take the green flag. We'll have some things to talk about before that. This restart's going to be crazy. Here we go for the Richmond Spring 200. Green flag is in the air. And boy, I may have butchered that restart, but I'll tell you who didn't. Carl Dotson, he gets away early down into turn 1. He's got a little bit of a lead over Brian Curry, but everybody knows that they're going to have to save some tires. So if you're going to go for track position, you might as well go for it now. Further back, we got guys jockeying for position. Joshua Watson trying to get around Austin Fitzgerald. Boy, those two had a close battle at Atlanta. Here they are doing it. Richmond, trouble further back in the field. Caution is out. We got a couple around here. Looks like the 47, Andrew Kotska. The 08, Danny Gutierrez is around. Brian Conklin in the 37. The 3, it looks like one of the Musso boys are also spun in the wrong direction. And that is the 93 of Joe Musso, as he is going to wait for the field to clear. Get that thing back rolling. Get whipped around here. I'll tell you what, the good news for these guys, we are at Richmond. So you're going to have to really make some significant contact with something in order to get yourself out of this race. I'll tell you what, it did certainly involve quite a few cars, but I'm not sure if anyone got damaged. So let's see where this is going to start. Going to be somewhere here with the 08. Look on the left of your screen here. Danny Gutierrez. Oh, and this actually starts further up with Scott Naslin in the 22. I believe he's going to get tagged, but then you see it's on from here. And watch these guys start piling in here. Looks like the 08 Danny Gutierrez, once he goes around, the 47 of Andrew Kotska, nowhere to go, makes slight contact. There's Brian Conklin, who looks like he's going to miss everybody. But once he gets in that grass, that is where he spins around. Ooh, did not see that initial contact from the 89. That could be a little bit more damage than Patrick Stein would have liked to see. He comes down, gets into the 93. Bill Benedict also tagged that outside wall, and that is where the 93 is going to go for a slide. Let's see if we can get a couple different angles of this here. Where this is going to start was, of course, with Danny Gutierrez, but I'll tell you what, it looked like Bill Benedict. Actually, let's ride on board here with Patrick Stein, or ride with Patrick Stein here, if you will. And these guys were kind of innocent bystanders, but you see they see the wreck, trying to check up, and ooh, that's actually a little bit harder than I thought initially for the 89. And there's the 93 involved. A couple more views here. Again, this started with the 22 of Scott Naisland. Let's see if we can see how he initially got. Ooh, him and the 95 make contact. That is Joe Musso. And then it's on from there. Boy, he was lucky to not get hit by anybody else. Either way, that is what's going to bring out your first caution of the night. Final look at it. Slides up, backs that thing into the outside turn 4 safer barrier. And they all slide in. Let's go back live now and check out how it's looking up front, where your current leader is still the pole sitter. That's Mr. Carl Dodson. Second, Brian Curry. Third, Cody Richardson. Already up 2 spots from where he started. Fourth, Tyler Marble. Fifth, Jeff Barnes. Let's keep going through the field up to 10th. Sixth, Joshua Watson. 7th, Austin Fitzgerald. 8th, Andrew Nieder. 9th, Scott Glasso. And rounding out the top 10, the 95. We just saw involved in that last incident is Jacob Musso. And again, nothing necessarily on his end. I mean, I'm telling you something. I was here in the officials this week. These cars are a handful here. They almost feel loose and tight. They can get very tight very easily getting into the corner. But boy, they can get very loose in a hurry getting out of the corners, especially off turn 2 where the transition is by no means smooth. We should be getting the 1 to go this next time. 200 laps is going to fly by here. So every time these guys get a caution, it is time wasted that they're going to need to move through the field, especially if you got a bad qualifying effort and you are starting further back. This did move some of the guys that were up front to the back. Jeffrey Souza still hanging in the back. So is Jeff Shutt. But some of the guys that did get moved back from that accident, Scott Naisland back 32 spots. Give you an idea of how close to the front he was starting. Danny Gutierrez back 21. Brian Conklin back 12. And that is going to be the biggest, I guess, losers, if you will, out of that incident. The thing I wanted to note before we got started here, but I was a little late on it, if you'll probably notice the scoring tower on your left looks a little different than usual. The overlay server that I used to actually set all my stuff up, SDK, they did have a major server issue here for the whole community before. It's just recently here within the last hour or so, and I was franticking around. I didn't think we were actually going to have any overlays, much less what we are still showing on broadcast. So very happy to have it, and I hope everybody can work with me on it. We thank you for being here, and here we go. First caution cleaned up. We're ready to go. Green flag is back out at Richmond. Carl Dodson with another pretty good jump. This time the 28 is going to stick to his outside into turn 1. Usually the high line, not the place to be, but we'll see what Brian Curry can do with it here. Everybody's tires still feeling pretty new. And the 28 gets a pretty good run. And can he get clear of the 29? He's going to try to stick it in there. Contact the 29, Carl Dodson. He holds on to it. Are you kidding me? Cody Richardson slides through to take the lead. Brian Curry finishes gathering himself up. Carl Dodson continuing to fall back right now. He is down to 9th, back 8 spots to the 22 on the apron. And man, that was a lot of aggression early, and we almost saw our second caution of the night. Carl Dodson's going to have to regroup and try to make some progress further back. The 20 of Ryan Shiro, he has fallen back with Sean Kaltenbach, and the 17 as well of Kyle Oakley. They all look for a spot in line. Up front, guess who? Cody Richardson is trying to create a gap on second place, Jeff Barnes. Good to see Jeff back out here, and Joshua Watson, the most dominant guy, if you will, of the season. Here he is, trying to get that inside work and trying to get by the 28 of Brian Curry. I'll tell you what, I want to go back and take a look at that contact. So here's what we're going to do real quick while these guys continue to battle it out. Let's go to Brian Curry. And this contact did not happen in turn 1, but we're going to kind of speed this up until we get to where the contact did ensue. And this was a really impressive move here initially from the 28. And I think he got clear, but He tried to really send it down in there, and there was contact made. You can see that move wasn't going to work. How about the job Carl Dotson does to hold on to that thing? Watch this on the onboard view. You see the 28 Carl kind of commits. The 28 also commits slight contact. But man, what a save. Just want to take one more final view of it here. As you see him losing positions now. Back this up a little bit here, and you'll see the contact. And I think he got clear, but again, Carl Dotson trying to hold on to the position. Not really anybody specifically at fault. Just two guys really going at it here at the short track. This is what we're expecting to see pretty much all night here at Richmond, as Cody Richardson continues to lead the way. The 14 has closed the gap up, though, by about 1/10 of a second. In third place is also continuing to close in on these guys. That is Joshua Watson. We're not 100% sure, rather, on the exact fuel mileage that these guys can go, but they should be able to go a pretty good distance with the track being under a mile. We'll find out after that first pit stop, and that should give us an idea of how many stops these guys are trying to do. Let's go back in the field and take a look at one of the strategists that I was just thinking about, if we'll see him try some strategy tonight or not. And that is going to be the 2-car of Sean Kaltenbach, currently sitting in the 16th spot, and that is where he started the race. But we saw him last week, tried some strategy at Texas. It didn't quite work out for the win, but nonetheless, you got to think it feels like a win, because he got a lot better finishing position than I think he would have got if he followed the same strategy as the rest of the field. So we'll be watching to see if Sean Kaltenbach tries to do anything sneaky here tonight. Going up, we got Jacob Musso, the last car in the top 10, and the highest running Musso speed shop driver. And this is a really good showing here early. We have seen that 95. He was also trying a little bit of strategy last week. Didn't work out for him either, but they're starting to show a little bit more speed. They kind of struggled out of the gate here, but each race you're seeing them up a couple more spots, and early on that 95 car is looking really strong, as the 99 of Joseph is going to drop below him. That is going to almost put him in a 3-wide scenario. Further back, Jeff Marvel's going to try to sneak by with the 22 of Scott Naisland. Joseph is one of the new drivers this week. I believe he actually was watching a broadcast and was when he asked to join, so we're glad to see him out here. Got set up. Cody Richardson continues to lead, as we are already almost 20 laps into this thing. Tires, again, going to be a major issue. Another interesting thing these guys do here at Richmond, and we'll show you on the dashboard, is downshifting. Let's try it on board with your current leader and show you just what I'm talking about. Actually, second place. Let's go to your leader, though, Cody Richardson. And actually, Cody is still staying in 5th gear. I mean, I know these guys do have different setups than each other. Let's see what he does down here in 3 and 4. It looks like whatever setup he has made, he is keeping that thing in 5th gear. But when we do go back a spot here to Jeff Barnes, you see he is currently in 4th gear. And it looks like he has set that car up to maybe stick in 4th gear. He is not going to go down into 3rd here just yet. See what he does down here into turns 3 and 4, and then we'll go back to your 3rd place runner, Joshua Watson. So they are all in 4th. It looks like Joshua Watson is also staying in 4th gear as of right now. And I'll tell you what, it shows you just how different things are in the fixed setups for these cars, where these guys wouldn't get to make custom setups. And the officials, you had guys shifting from 5th to 3rd into turn 1, but when these guys can make their own gearing ratios, they make some interesting adjustments with it. And it is what we like to see. Mad Sim Racing still leading the way. Jeff Barnes 2nd, Joshua Watson 3rd, Carl Dotson 4th, Brian Curry 5th, Andrew Nieder 6th. Austin Fitzgerald, Atlanta's winner, currently sits in 7th. That is the driver out of Las Vegas. And he continues to show that confidence. Had himself a pretty good run last week at Texas. And he's going to try to capitalize on it again here tonight with at least a top 10 run, as this is the first of 3 races for a little short track stint, if you will. Next week, we're going to head to Bristol. Oh, further back, it looked like we had one car get tight, maybe almost get into the wall. I think actually the 99, Joseph Grzalva. Again, I do apologize if I'm pronouncing his last name wrong, but it looked like he got a little tight off 4. Maybe got that 99 machine just tagged to that outside safer barrier on the front stretch. The 47 is trying to go by, and you do not want to race too hard in this part of the run. This is where it's starting to get time to settle in. Conserve your tires, because you are going to need them by the end of this thing. Tyler Marble still 9th. Scott Glasso was ahead of an 8th. Let's go back, though, to 10th, where we were just talking about. Andrew Kotska has taken that spot away from the 99. 12th to Jeff Marble. 13th to Jacob Musso. 14th to Jared Bundy. 15th to Ryan Shiro. Sean Kaltenbach. 16th, Cody Colley. 17th, 18th, Tracy Powers. 19th is Richard Elliott. That is one of the JBR e-racing drivers. Johnny McCallcheck, 20th. 21st, Alan Pajari, the driver for Dynamic Autosports, maybe struggling a little bit here at Richmond right now. And we will see this from some of the guys. I'm not sure if Pajari's just struggling a little bit right now with the handling or what, but he had been really fast on all the tracks we've been to so far. And I guess I should note this too, as I did have, I believe it was Cody that made a comment about it earlier, and he's kind of right. This isn't technically the first short track of the season, as these guys did go to Phoenix. However, you might as well call it the first short track of the season, because Phoenix races a lot different than it is here at Richmond. I mean, these guys are full brake in both sides of the track. At Phoenix, that long front stretch with the dogleg is full throttle. Turns 3 and 4, there's quite a lot of throttle time still. 1 and 2, maybe the most similar to the turns here at Richmond. The 94, Eddie Musso Jr. is trying to go by Alan Pajari. That is the battle for 21st still. Kyle Oakley, 23rd. Brian Watson, 24th. Brian Conklin involved in that first incident, 25th. Another couple drivers involved in that incident. Danny Gutierrez, 26th. Jerry Isaacs, 27th. Ryan Haynes, 28th. Bill Benedict, 29th. Joe Musso, 30th. Cody Matthews, 31st. Andy Tico, 32nd. 33rd, Todd Shiro, 34th. Patrick Stein, 35th. Glenn Grigsby, one of the independent guys. Scott Naisland, the initial spinner in that first caution, is in 36th, down 34 spots. Jeff Shutt, 37th. And Jeffrey Souza rounds out the field in 38th. Going back up to your leader, Cody Richardson. Seemed like they had started to catch him, if you will, but he has started to stretch that gap back out just a little bit now. Joshua Watson has taken over second place from Jeff Barnes, and that might have been when he stretched the gap out once those guys got to racing. And look who is starting to creep back up here. That's Carl Dotson. Boy, I'll tell you what, the 14 looks like he's really struggling here. Brian Curry's looking to go around him as well. Jeff Barnes maybe used his stuff up a little bit too early as well. We'll have to find out as the run continues to go on. Quick shout out to Brian Curry. I see he is rocking the Ghost Racing Network logo on the right rear and left rear quarter panels of his car. I'm not sure. Some of these other guys might have it, but sometimes I just can't really tell. Carl Dotson, though, recovering nicely, continues to move up. We'll see what he can do. Joshua Watson starting to now reel in the leader, Cody Richardson, as we are 31 of the 200 through here at Richmond. And normally we save it for late. Sometimes we do it in the middle, but tonight we're going to do it early. Here we go. Crank it up from Richmond. And that is going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. I hope everybody did enjoy that. Cody Richardson continues to lead by over 0.8 of a second right now. On second place, Joshua Watson. That is the highest running JBR E-Racing driver. Carl Dotson still sits third, but he is closing in on the back of that 01 car here. Brian Curry fourth. Jeff Barnes still running in the top 5. So it looks like Joe is in the chat. Rooting on Joseph. Joseph currently in the 99 machine has fallen just a little bit back to 14th. Overall, still a positive gain. He is up 5 spots right now from where he started. And to be sticking it to these guys like this in your first race is definitely nothing to be ashamed of. 99 does look out of control just as we said that. He gets in the wall on the backstretch pretty hard. Right front damage. And how bad is that damage going to be? Ooh, that right front looks pretty banged up by the wheel well. In fact, it is actually now concaved into about the middle of the tire. And that is not what he wanted to do. He's got to be careful here. Don't overthink it. Get yourself back into a rhythm. Damage not going to affect you as bad here at Richmond as some of the tracks that we do head to. He is currently battling for that 15th spot. Cody Colley is going to take it away, but slides back in line. We'll see if he can get himself back together. Cody Richardson up front, though, still leads the way. Let's check out the track map here real quick. With a couple other things, you see just how spread out everyone is. Richmond, in my opinion, is almost similar to a mini auto club, if you will. Very many, of course, because auto club, these guys would have probably been going close to full throttle. But it's that same D-shaped oval, just a lot smaller. The turns are banked. Front stretch is slightly banked. Caution is out. Not sure for who, but the caution is out. Ooh, the 89 Patrick Stein on pit road. Not sure if that has anything to do with this yellow flag or not. Second yellow of the night falls on lap 42, and I'll tell you what, believe it or not, I could be wrong, but I'm thinking Cody Richardson maybe didn't want to see that because he looked like he was getting really comfy out front in that clean air. Let's take a look here if maybe this was the 89 car. Patrick Steen. Oh, looks from this view like he's sideways. Oh, and that is sure enough going to be what it is. Oh, that's a big hit to the front end of that 89 machine. Wisely does just so it gets out of the way of all these guys, but let's see how this... Oh, wow, man, he was loose getting into the corner. It looked like he drifted to about the whole corner before he finally loses it here. Yeah, you see he is already sideways on entry. Things start to spin around. He gets it down to the apron, and right there, just a slight overcorrection. Back up. All 4 tires off the ground. As he hits that outside wall out of turn 2. Let's take a look from his onboard here, and you'll see just how loose he was. I mean, this thing, I don't think the back end ever really got secured from the time he entered the corner. Sometimes we'll see this happen on a downshift, but not the case here. Oh, man, and he was babying it, too. You heard him. He wasn't even full throttle on the initial overcorrection, if you will, and it just did not matter. Thankfully, nobody else got into him. Wow, I'll tell you what, I did not realize that happened right in front of your leader, Cody Richardson. He had a front row seat, and I don't think he really liked it. Let's take a look on board now with Cody Richardson, as man, oh man, was this close. Watch this. You see he's kind of coming up on it. Can't really see it. All of a sudden he sees it. The 89 bounces so far off the wall. Wow, Cody almost got wrecked himself, but somehow he holds on to it and holds himself in front. At least he did for now, but these guys had some pit stops, and as of now, this would shake up the running order. We did have some guys go in, some guys stay out. A little bit of an interesting strategy. We may have had some 2-tire stops, but this is going to mix things up a little bit here. You can do this at Richmond, one of the cool things about it. And we'll see if some more of these guys come down to pit road. We might see some of them as well looking to get the wave around, as Cody Colley, who was leading there, sure enough, does come down pit road this time. That would turn your lead over to Carl Dotson. Joshua Watson would be second. Brian Curry third. Brian Curry. For a second, for some reason I thought I was reading Brian Watson. I was about to say, man, he made up a ton of positions, but Brian Curry has been up here most of the night. Jeff Barnes in 5th, hanging on in that 14 car, and he probably wanted to see that caution as well. We noted he was starting to slowly fall back, may have been struggling with the handling. This caution gave him a chance to go in. And on open setups, remember, these guys can indeed fix a lot of things. And that is sure enough what he probably did right there. Gotta think we should be getting the next caution for now. Or, excuse me, the one to go for now. Once they cross the line this time, that is. I'm sitting here looking to see if we can maybe pull somebody up, see if we can get an interview. And I'll tell you what, let's see first if they get to 1 to go signal this time, because pace laps are just simply not long enough here at Richmond to try to interview anybody last second, and it does look like they are going to get that 1 to go signal, so we are not going to interview anybody this time, but if we get another caution, we certainly will. And there goes the 89 of Patrick Steen, going to be multiple laps down. You see it there, 4 laps down. Over 30 cars, though, still hanging on to the lead lap. That's something to be pretty proud of here at Richmond. I mean, lappers are going to be an issue as the night goes on in terms of they're not going to give those laps up for free. And the leaders, if they're close, the lappers are one of the best chances to pass. You can use them as a pick, but we'll see how these guys choose to use them right here. The field now rolling through 3 and 4 into that Geico restart zone. Leading him back to green, Carl Dotson takes the green flag, but when he got a big jump, leaves the rest of the field in the dust. And that is good, because the bigger gap you can get on that restart, the quicker you can get comfortable and get in a groove. All these short tracks that we go to, Richmond being one of them specifically, it is all about rhythm. That's why they call these rhythm tracks. And if you can't get into a rhythm early, it's going to be a long day. There's Cody Richardson on the outside for 4th, trying to steal it away from the 14 of Jeff Barnes, who we saw really, really strong on that last short run. Cody not going to give up those. He fights back on the outside. He knows he's got a fast car, and he knows now is probably going to be his best chance to take advantage of some of those new tires that he just took. Down the backstretch now, Cody's going to switch it over, see if he can get to the inside. It's not going to make it work this time. We are just about 1/4 of the way through this race, and 2 cautions so far. More than what we're used to seeing, but again, there's just so much congestion here at Richmond. So many things that make this track so difficult. That is why we are seeing some of those cautions early here. Looks like we are going to try to have a pass here. Andrew Kotska is going to try to get the position from Tyler Marble. That is for 9th. Tyler Marble's trying to make that outside work. Austin Fitzgerald. I think these guys pull a slight, ever so slight draft on the front stretch. Ooh, Austin Fitzgerald really had to drive it in deep so he could clear the 47 and get behind Andrew Nieder. But looking back a little farther, Sean Kaltenbach up 5 spots from where he started, almost inside the top 10 now. Jeff Marble for Team Marble iRacing, he currently sits in 12th now, excuse me. Jacob Musso 13th, Tracy Powers 14th, Jared Bundy 15th. Another one of the independent drivers having a pretty good night here so far. Alan Pajari, he might be starting to find a rhythm. He is up to 16th. And as I was going to note right before the restart, we do have 32 cars on the lead lap, but that number is still going to shrink by quite a few cars as this race goes on. I would not be surprised if we finish with less than half the field on the lead lap, especially if it goes green. And if you are just tuning in, you are watching the Richmond Spring 200 here for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series on Ghost Racing Network. And while these guys are kind of starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm, I think now is probably a better time than any to show you where we head next on the schedule here. And that is going to be to Bristol Motor Speedway, the High Bank short track. And that one is probably one that a lot of these guys are looking forward to. We are going to see a lot of bump and runs there and a lot faster speeds, a lot better racing, I think. Richmond does provide some good racing. I'm not saying it that way. It's just something about Bristol. You will see guys getting the inside, outside work in. It's going to be a good race. Then we head to the Paperclip Martinsville. That is usually the track that frustrates drivers the most. You see both of those races 200 laps or more before we head back to the big boy tracks. That is Talladega Super Speedway for the second of the No Bull 5 race, and then Dover and Kansas following after that. Right now your current points leader and starting to try to make a gap on the rest of the field is Joshua Watson at 232 points. Second, Tyler Marble. Third is Jeff Marble. The 2 Team Marble iRacing drivers are locking up the podium there in second and third. Austin Fitzgerald, after a win so far this season at Atlanta, currently 4th in points. Carl Dotson 5th. 6th, Cody Richardson 7th. Scott Naslin 8th. Alan Pajari 9th. Brian Watson rounding out that top 10 in points is going to be Brian Curry. Going back live here at Richmond, your current leader is Carl Dotson. Second, still Joshua Watson. He has not quite been able to track him down just yet. Brian Curry and Jeff Barnes rounding out the top 4. 5th is Cody Richardson to round out the top 5. And he was able to keep himself in front of Andrew Nieder. Andrew's having a good run tonight, up 5 spots from where he started as well, the driver out of New Hudson. He's kind of had a couple up and down races, him and Sean Kaltenbach, the only 2, I believe, Team Watson racing drivers. And they have shown a lot of speed at the 1.5 and ups, and you always wonder when you see a team fast at those tracks, how are they going to deliver here at the short tracks? But so far, so good. Team Watson Racing. Cody Richardson right now kind of getting stuck back here, and this will tell you just how important clean air is here at Richmond. And these guys know that as much as they would like to get back to the clean air, they got to do it methodically. 200 laps. I know it's going to go by quick, but that is still a lot of turns to make. And you've got to make every single one of them perfect if you want a chance to win here. Let's go back, check a little bit further back in the field here. Everybody's kind of gotten single file, but you see just how long that single file line is. It stretches about 3/4 of the track. We still have probably a handful of laps before you're going to see Carl Dotson catch the first sign of lap traffic. But as these tires wear out, that outside line kind of starts to fade away. I'll tell you what, it looks like Glenn Grigsby, Jeffrey Souza both in pit road right now. Not sure if they had an issue or if this is just part of their strategy. Gotta think it's a little early to be in right now. But yeah, as those tires start to fade, guys really aren't going to be able to make passes on the outside anymore. It'll be only the inside, and if there's a guy in front of you holding you up, then this is a good chance to practice for Martinsville. You will see these guys giving the bumper, no doubt about it. I think when we do hit Martinsville in a couple weeks, we are going to see a lot of bumper tag going on because you really can't get the outside working at Martinsville. There's just not really much banking. We'll see a couple guys try it. And hey, you never know. Some of these guys can make some wicked setups and are absolute wheelmen. A little too wide, though, further back there for just a second. They got it sorted out back. It looks like Carl Dotson and Joshua Watson kind of separating themselves from Brian Curry. And then it looks to be a 4-car pack being led by the 14 of Jeff Barnes, then Cody Richardson, Andrew Nieder. And it looks like that is the 4 of Scott Glasso, I do believe, sure enough. Scott having a pretty good run here after, I thought he almost had contact with the wall earlier, but I'm just realizing that was actually the 99. Scott, another one of the drivers that's shown some consistency so far here throughout the season. Driver of the number 4 car. But how about it? Your pole sitter made a mistake early, maybe got in a little, or tried to get a little too aggressive with keeping the lead. Almost spun out, somehow saved it. A little bit of pit strategy, and here he is back out in front. But just as I say that, boy, Joshua Watson made up a heap of time throughout that corner, and he is now just about to the back bumper of Carl Dotson. Let's check out the lap time difference because he looked a lot faster that lap. You see Carl Dotson's 2 laps, compare that to Joshua Watson. And actually, it looks like Dotson was indeed slower the last 2 laps. Before that, these guys were kind of switching back and forth. It looks like out of turns 1 and 2, Joshua Watson is a lot better, but out of 3 and 4, at least that last time, Carl was better. And taking down the track map, if these guys were to somehow stay this close until we get to lap traffic, that's where things could start to get a little bit interesting, as they're going to have to figure out what lane do they want. I'm sure some of the lappers will probably go high, but they don't necessarily have to, and I don't think we'll see all of them do it, especially the ones that think they'll have a good chance as long as they can stay on the lead lap. They are going to be hoping for another caution or to make it to this next pit stop. And it will be interesting to see if we do see our first green flag pit stop. And there you go. You see him in the same camera angle now. That last car in the field. Can't tell who that is just yet. I believe that sure enough is Jeff Shutt and Patrick Steen. And they are going to be caught here now in the next lap or 2. It sounded like a couple guys are getting into the wall. Would not be too surprised. Oh, we got a pass here. It looks like this is for 6th. Andrew Nieder, or this actually was for 7th. Andrew Kotska is trying to work around Scott Glasso. He is not going to make it work that time. Jeff Marble is starting to creep up through the field a little bit. He is now in 10th. That is where he started. He's got his teammate Tyler Marble in front of him. Tyler is down 5 spots from where he started. We saw these guys come exploding out of the gate, opposite of what I was talking about earlier about some of these guys coming out of the gate slow, if you will. But Team Marble iRacing looked great in Speed Weeks, looked great at the first couple tracks we went to after Speed Weeks. They've still been doing really good overall in terms of consistency, but I feel like we are expecting to see another win sooner or later. Team Marble iRacing, it's just got to be a matter of time, and we will see if they can get one here tonight. The 48, Tyler Marble, currently their best shot at it. Cody Richardson would like to get Mad Sim Racing a win tonight. He is also a driver that is in position to do it, but he can't mess up on pit road. The pit road here, very tricky, one of the slowest pit roads that we are going to go to. and it's kind of in a weird angle. In fact, we'll show you right here. There you go, you see it there. These guys have to really get slowed down, and all of a sudden when you go from banking to flat at a short track, it is not easy. These guys are going to be on old tires, and if they get a speeding penalty, it is just way too costly at a track like this. You can guarantee yourself you're going 2, potentially 3 laps down, and sometimes that can just be too hard to recover from. Carl Dotson still leads the way. Let's go back in the pack a little bit here. Scott Naisland, Alan Pajari, a couple guys that are trying to make up some positions. Alan Pajari is up 20 spots from where he started in 15, so he is looking to continue to march his way through the field. Tracy Powers in 14th. We saw him have a good start to Atlanta, made a mistake, got put in the wall, and that was one of the races that I felt like the 25 had a really good car and a really good chance at it. Trying to get maybe just a little bit too much too early, and that's the toll when you have no fast pairs. As Scott Naisland now is going to jump to the inside of Alan Pajari further back. Looks like Jerry Isaacs is going to get around Jeff Shutt. And Alan Pajari not going to be able to put up much fight on that outside line. Not on tires this old. Scott Naisland is going to go by. Picks up another position now in 15th. Johnny McCallcheck, Brian Coughlin. And it looks like Brian Watson is going to try to go around the other Brian. He takes the inside in that Ryko paint scheme for JBR E-Racing. And off of turn 2, he's still trying to work his way around. Not going to get clear just yet. He will dive it into turn 3. And now the 37 going to have to give up that position and drop back in line. And you saw it there, right? I mean, the 04 washes way up the track out of 4. He had to get in a slight bit early. Got up the track just a little bit. And, I mean, almost got into the wall out of 4. Really had to lift. And now Brian Conklin side by side. Man, there was almost contact between those two. They're able to stay off each other, and this time Brian says, all right, I'll let you go for real this time. But a lot of patience there overall being shown by these guys. I mean, this is one of those tracks where if you get too aggressive too early, it's not going to end well for you. If a guy is a lot faster, realistically, you need to let him go. I know it's so tempting. You get in your own head. You try to get in their head. You want to race them, but you got to save it for the end. If you do it early, you waste your tires, and everyone's just going to be laughing later when you are the guy falling towards the back. Joshua Watson has fallen off the back bumper of Carl Dotson. Like we saw earlier, we thought he was going to make a pass, but starting to maybe struggle just a little bit. He is now about 8/10 behind, and that shows you just how important clean air is. Both leaders tonight, Cody Richardson and Carl Dotson, that is, once they have gotten clean air for over, I'd say, 15 laps, then they all of a sudden start to be able to pull away. That shows you just how much that extra downforce is worth here at Richmond. At 28, Brian Curry, he is trying to close in now on Joshua Watson. We talked to Brian last week, had a really strong run. That is actually a Team Watson Racing driver, so I do apologize. I thought Brian was on a different team, but that is the 3rd of the Team Watson Racing drivers. So he is currently the highest running. Cody Richardson now up to 4th. He took that spot from Jeff Barnes, who is maybe starting to fade just a little bit here as I see Scott Glasso creeping up on him. And we are coming to complete lap 80 of 200 so far here at Richmond. We are going to take our first break of the night, but we will stay Ghost Racing Network side by side so you don't miss a thing. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Richmond Raceway here where we are 85 of 200 laps complete for the Richmond Spring 200. Your current leader is still Carl Dotson. Second, Joshua Watson. Rounding out that last podium spot is Brian Curry in the 28th. We talked about lap cars starting to be a factor. Carl Dotson has passed a couple of them already, but nobody's really given a hard time yet. So far, so good. I'll tell you what, it looks like Patrick Steen may have had another issue here. Let's take a look at it. The 89 so far has been struggling today, and looks like, just gets a little loose. Gets down in the grass, and oh man, another decent shot to the front nose of that 89 track racer machine that might end his night. Thankfully, it did not bring out the caution, so we do stay green, but man, a lot of trouble early for some of these guys. Joshua Watson thought he would get the lead here, but don't count him out because he always seems to find a way. Cody Richardson also looks like he is maybe starting to close the gap on third place, Brian Curry. And this is where we will really start to see if anybody has a really good long run car. Hold on just a second. Looks like Joseph may have had an issue. And the 99 is slow. Glenn Grigsby, and looks like some more right front damage. Boy, that thing is really struggling now. And there's your leader, Carl Dotson, coming up on the back of him. And the 99 is going to get right out of the way. He wants no part of this. Got to be really careful. Gets a little tight. Carl Dotson able to get by without trouble. But let's see what happened here to Joseph. So far, so good. Oh, just same issue. Same issue as Patrick Stein. Oh man, Glenn Grigsby nowhere to go. Oh, that was a big hit for the 64. The 99 escapes with just that right front damage, but guys really starting to get loose off 4 right now, and you can see it is really starting to hurt some of these guys. Let's take a look here at Glenn Grigsby. Man, just had nowhere to go. Nothing he could do right here. And there is the 89 coming up, the 99 coming up the track. And that's a pretty big tank slapper to the 64. I am extremely surprised that that one did not draw a caution. But nevertheless, it didn't. Carl Dotson was probably saying, guys, just go around. And sure enough, the 99 is going to go around right here. Carl Dotson trying to cross him back up. No, he's going to let him go. 99 may have pit or take new tires. Either way, I'm not sure. But ooh, the 29 almost to the back bumper of the 99. But this little bit of battling might allow Joshua Watson to close up and maybe have a chance to take over the lead. Carl Dotson's got to be careful here. The 99 seems to be faster, and we'll see if he can pull away right here, but the 99, of course, is not on the lead lap. In fact, he does sit 1 lap down right now, but he is fighting for that lucky dog, so you can understand why he would certainly rather not go 2 laps out if he doesn't have to. And those last 2 laps, boy, Carl Dotson lost over 2 tenths to Joshua Watson, who now has it down to almost a half a second. We'll see if he can stretch it back out. But even when these guys just have 1 mess up in a corner, sliding your tires can take multiple laps of just running it nice and calm to get that back. And Glenn Grigsby, man, the damage to the right front of that thing, pretty banged up. I mean, these cars usually don't, the damage doesn't affect them as bad at tracks like Richmond, but that's pretty heavy. Got to think that's a little concerning. Cody Richardson, though, who we were just looking at, he is starting to get within reaching distance now of Brian Curry, about 3 to 4 car lengths away now. And he looks like he's running a little bit of an early approach, gets a small arc, and then runs it nice and smooth out of the corner. Let's take a look at the telemetry and right on board here again with Cody Richardson, as actually we'll keep it here, but it looks like he continues to do 5th gear. So whatever setup he's made, he is committed to 5th gear. Looks like has refused to shift down at all. Glenn Grigsby is looking to maybe go by in the 64. You got to assume on new tires, newer tires, if you will. And if these guys keep going, you got to wonder if maybe they can make it on just 1 stop from here. Again, I'm not sure the exact fuel mileage number. I know that they all have 100% fuel, but not sure exactly how many laps that is. In case you missed the weather earlier, it is up on the right side now. Winds at 5 miles an hour. 65 degrees. Track temp is at 89. Partly cloudy skies and humidity at 32%. So pretty nice day out here in Richmond. Virtual Richmond, that is, at least. And the guy that's going for a Sunday drive right now is still Carl Dotson. He has stretched it back out on Joshua Watson. So that tells me that Carl is faster, at least for now. But those lappers did what we were expecting them to do, the slight battling just for about a lap. And if you get into a battle with either multiple lappers or a lapper like what we just saw with the 99 for more than a couple laps, all of a sudden you could be in danger. Looks like most of the field right now is in turns 3 and 4. The leaders on the backstretch just now entering 3. So the good news is they shouldn't have to worry about any lappers just yet, or any more lappers just yet. Jeff Marble in 6th. And we saw Tyler Marble a little faster earlier, but he has started to actually fade a bit now. And not sure if Tyler has maybe, oh wow, no, Tyler has had a run in, a pretty decent run in here with either another car or the wall. Not sure when or where this happened, but another car with the right front pretty banged up. And wow, I mean, I'm telling you, the suspension looks really, really beat up on the right front of that thing. Holy moly. Not sure what happened, but that may end his night, down 29 spots from where he started. So a good qualifying effort is going to a potentially bad finish for one of the Team Marble iRacing drivers. Let's go through the running order of a couple of these teams. Let's start with some of the big hitters. That is the JBR E-Racing team. Looks like Joshua Watson currently sits in first. Let's go all the way back here until we are going to find for who's second here. And it looks like it is going to be Brian Watson, second highest running driver for JBR E-Racing. He currently sits in 11th. Up 20 spots from where he started. Danny Gutierrez in 14th. Down 2 spots from where he started. Then we go back to Richard Elliott, currently in 25th, down 10 spots from where he started. Take a look now at the Team Watson Racing drivers, because they're also having a solid run. Brian Curry in 4th. And you have to go back here to Andrew Neidard, who is currently in 8th. Sean Kaltenbach 12th. So they're all running pretty close together. Cody Richardson has picked up 3rd position, and he is pretty close now to maybe picking off 2nd position over Joshua Watson, who is starting to struggle now. The gap is at a second and 20. 1.2 seconds, maybe I should just say it that way. And he is trying to work around. Might have a run here on the backstretch. Does he take it? Cody Richardson making moves here in the middle part of the Richmond race. We are over halfway through this race, and he almost gave some bumper. Ooh, I see some smoke ahead. And oh, Joseph has wrecked again. No caution, so this must have been off track. Grijalva is looks to be struggling here tonight. Let's go take a look at what just happened in this last incident regarding the 99. This is going to be out of turn 4. Is it going to be the same spot here? And it looks like, sure enough, same spot, almost identical. And never mind. Actually, this was what we already had saw. So I do apologize. It had just popped up twice for me. I was kind of wondering. It's like it looked like the same spot he spun. So that is from earlier. The 99, then I take it back, has not had any more issues. Part of the SDK struggles that we were talking about earlier. They are working on it right now. But the 29, Carl Dotson, continuing to work on his lead. Joshua Watson second. Cody Richardson is going to try the outside. Joshua was maybe getting a little defensive. And no, he's just going to let Cody go right on by. Says, hey man, you're faster. I'll let you go, but don't forget later, if I'm faster, help me out. And now the question is, can the man who led early get himself back out in front? Cody Richardson has been, I'd say, top half the field running car, so we'll say top 20 at worst car so far this season. But tonight, he looks like at minimum a top 3 potentially winning car, and it's going to be all about how the rest of this race plays out. There's still strategy that has to be played. But 107 laps through, if these guys go to lap 120, that makes me believe that they're going to be good to go. Ooh, Cody Richardson gives a little shot to Brian Conklin. I was going to say Brian Curry, but Brian Conklin in the 37, that is the Team Marble iRacing driver, says, hey man, I got to go, get out of the way. And the lap cars usually try to race pretty respectively. I think Brian was just trying to wait till a better spot for the 46 to go by, but Cody Richardson, he knows what he's got, and he does not want to waste any time. Carl Dotson, no strategy play so far tonight. It looks like he is going to try to win this thing off straight speed, which is what he has been showing so far. Go back and go through your running order from last up to first. Jeffrey Souza currently sitting in the pits. He's been there for a little while. It looks like Jeff Shutt has retired from the race. Patrick Steen, another driver that has retired from the race after multiple incidents tonight. Jared Bundy, he has retired, and it looks like Joseph has now also retired. Tyler Marble currently in pit road. He is in 33rd, 32nd. Glenn Grigsby Brian Curry 31st, 30th Richard Elliott, Brian Haynes 29th, Sean Kaltenbach 28th, Joe Musso 27th, Andrew Neidhart 26th, Eddie Musso 25th, Alan Pajari 24th, Jeff Barnes 23rd, Austin Fitzgerald 22nd, Scott Naisland 21st, Brian Conklin in 20th, 19th is Todd Shiro, 18th Cody Matthews, 17th Andy Tico, 16th Cody Colley, 15th Bill Benedict, Kyle Oakley 14th, Jerry Isaacs 13th, 12th is Johnny McCallcheck, 11th Ryan Shiro, Tracy Powers 10th, 9th Danny Gutierrez, 8th Andrew Kotska, Brian Watson and Jacob Musso 6th and 7th, Scott Glasso 5th, Jeff Marble 4th, and your top 3 is going to be Joshua Watson 3rd, Cody Richardson 2nd, and Carl Dotson 1st. Cody has narrowed the gap down from 2nd to 1st already by half a second. He is almost under a second now in the deficit to Carl Dotson, who continues to lead here. 112 of 200 complete. And at this point, pit stops are going to be on the horizon. You got to expect them, I would think, at latest within the next 17 to 20 laps. And right now, if you know you got a good long run car such as Cody Richardson, man, I almost think you go in. Yeah, it's a tough call. I mean, if you go in early, you try to shortcut these guys, you're going to be on newer tires quicker, and you know you'll probably get the lead. The question is, how good is the clean air? Is it enough that you can keep the lead once those guys that pitted later come at you a charge with newer tires? Or do you stay out late so that when you do take those newer tires, you can use them to their full ability? Richard Elliott going by to get a lap back. And I'll tell you what, Cody Richardson, he is on rails right now. He now has the gap down to 0.7 of a second. Mad Sim Racing has been looking for a run like this, and if they can find some speed with one of their drivers, you better believe they're going to be able to find it with both others. Can he catch Dotson here before pit stops? It looked like the last couple laps, Carl is really starting to struggle with the handling of this car. In fact, let's ride on board. You see him shifting down to 4th. Yeah, you see him working the wheel now. That thing is not coming out of the corner the way he wants it to. Turning the wheel right is never the best thing for a driver. That means that thing is not really hooking up to the track too well. Part of that, though, is the downshifts, right? I mean, Cody Richardson, take a look. You know what he is doing different than your leader? He is not downshifting. He is staying in 5th gear. And that allows him to be a lot smoother out of the corner here. You see his hands not moving around. He doesn't have to worry about it because he is not getting as many RPMs, not as much power. And he is just about on the back bumper of Carl Dotson. Here we go. We might see a battle for the lead in the next lap or two. Tyler Marble is going to try to get one of his laps back. Austin Fitzgerald sitting back there as well. And right now, if you're on the lead laps, you're doing a heck of a job because we only have about 17 on it. And there goes Tyler Marble. That shows you the difference that fresh tires make, as he is going to fly right around both of these guys. The 46, this does hurt him just a little bit as he has to ride the outside for a turn. But that favor should be returned here, as both of these guys are going to make Carl Dotson ride the outside through 3 and 4. Big close on the gap now. Can anybody else capitalize? The 14 getting his lap back as well. And I think some of those guys, some of what were the guys that were in the top 10 have already pitted. One of those was Brian Curry. We'll take a look at all that in just a minute, but I'm trying to see how this paddle is going to shape out. You know, they're getting ready to be side by side. Unfortunately, these lap cars are making it tough for Cody Richardson to get by. As Andy Tico is going to try to sneak by on the inside. Ooh, gets on the apron. Has to be real careful there. Carl Dotson holds on. Pulling up the track map, you see it's just getting more and more busy, more and more spread out. And right now, these leaders are in the thick of it. Now to the inside goes Cody Richardson. Can he make it work down the backstretch? He does. New leader to 46, Cody Richardson, and pit stops. How about that maneuver? Takes the lead on the lap he was going to pit. That's pretty impressive. Oh, he locks it up, almost spins. And now the question is, did he speed? You're going to have to hope he didn't. If the 46 sped, that is going to end his day. We're hoping he didn't. He got a little bit of a lockup. And Jeff Marble is going to take the lead. We'll check in on pit road in just a second. But when does the 15 come into pit? Brian Watson, he also stays out on track for right now. He is in second. Jacob Musso third. But he is going to make his way to pit road. Danny Gutierrez now moves up to third. Andrew Kotska fourth. Fifth is going to be Tracy Powers. Johnny McCallchuck sixth. Or sorry, Scott Naisland is going to be sixth. 7th is going to be Johnny McCulloch, and then Ryan Sherrill 8th, Austin Fitzgerald 9th, and Kyle Oakley rounding out the top 10. Taking a look at some of the pit cams here. See, it's not quite as busy as it was, but Carl Dotson still sitting on pit road. This is potentially bad news for the 29. Yikes, he is on there for a lot longer than we definitely thought he was going to be, and he may have gotten a penalty. It's about all you can assume at this point. And that's a big mistake from the 29, assuming that that is indeed what happened. Cody Richardson, that's probably the driver that I would say I'm most curious about right now. Yeah, he definitely got a penalty, the 29. Cody Richardson, on the other hand, looks like he was, I don't believe he was penalized. He currently sits 14th. We're still waiting for all these pit cycles to cycle out to see where it puts everybody. But we are looking for certain drivers, such as Brian Curry. But Brian may have gotten a speeding penalty as well. He is currently back in 26. And this is really mixing the running order of this race up. And it's 75 laps to go right now. Carl Dotson back out on track, but all these guys that just had issues on the pit stop, they are hoping to get a caution right now because they know they're going to probably need a couple to have a chance to get back up here. Cody Richardson is the last car on the lead lap right now. And it looks like Carl Dotson, as we see just how many laps down he went. Looking on your scoring tower, he is 2 laps down right now. He might be able to get one of those back, but still not the position you want to put yourself in here. The 08, Danny Gutierrez, the winner, the Capital Auto Daytona 250, leading the way. The beautiful teal 08 machine for JBR Racing. This guy came firing out of the gate at Daytona. And having a decent run tonight. You got to remember, all things considered, he had a little bit of struggles. Got some contact early, got in that first caution incident. Didn't really get a ton of damage, but you see just about every corner of that car is a little banged up at some point or another. And I'll tell you what, I want to give a shout out to this guy as well, because you know what I see on the left rear of that car? I see a little Ghost Racing Network logo, and I certainly appreciate Danny having that on. It means a lot. And these guys enjoy it enough, and it's a teal one too. That's a really pretty looking logo. Up front, though, he does still lead the way. Second is Scott Naisland in the 22. Danny is up 11 spots. Note that as well. Scott, oh, see some smoke. That was for the pits, though. And, boy, each time that I see that smoke, it makes me hold my breath a little more because I am thinking one of these guys is going to bring out a caution, and that would change everything. Scott Naisland does take over the lead here from Danny Gutierrez. Jeff Barnes sitting third. Austin Fitzgerald fourth. Andrew Nieder fifth. Alan Pajari up 29 spots from where he started. And he is definitely your hard charger right now in 6th. Sean Kaltenbach 7th. Cody Colley 8th. And the man that you want to keep your eye on now, that is Cody Richardson. We're looking for Joshua Watson, and this may have been another driver with a speeding penalty. I believe it was, as he also is not currently sitting on the lead lap. In fact, he is 2 laps down as well. Again, I'm not 100% sure, but based off the distance between him and Richardson, from what they should have been, a lot of drivers struggling with the one green flag stop that we've had so far. And I'll tell you what, I think that's going to be the only green flag stop, at least for the guys that are looking to have a shot at winning this thing. With 69 laps to go once we hit the line this time, that is not that much longer to go here at Richmond. That's about the same length as a normal official race, which only lasts about another half an hour to 45 minutes if we stay green. And these guys are ticking off laps in the 20, I believe it's 29 ranges. Let's take a look at it again. Let's compare some of these times, because that's going to tell you just how quick we might see certain guys catching each other. 23:045 was the last lap for Scott Naisland. You know who I want to compare it to. That's the main guy on the track right now, Cody Richardson. And I mean, that tells you all the difference. Over half a second, almost a second faster lap right now than your current leader. And he is 12 seconds behind your leader. He will be there probably within the next 20 to 25 laps at the longest, if he keeps his pace up. And I'll tell you what, I don't know what it is, but sometimes up here broadcasting, words can just be so hard to find. Sitting there having a conversation, it is easy, but man. Tell you what, we are going to take one more quick break, but that will be our last one. We'll stay here and go green, hopefully the rest of the way, as we go Ghost Racing Network side by side. 61 laps to go here at Richmond Raceway, where your current leader, Scott Naisland, continues to hold a 4.5-ish second gap over second place Jeff Barnes. But the man that we are all keeping an eye on right now continues to be Cody Richardson. He sits in 5th. The gap from where he was not too many laps ago is already down by 4 seconds. And I think he is going to be the guy that has pretty much this race won for now. Again, we got to see how some of these other guys, such as Andrew Niedert and Austin Fitzgerald, cycle out. Jeff Barnes as well, but those guys I think may have pitted a bit too early for their strategy to work out the way they would have liked. And I did mean to ask anybody at home that's watching, if you have a chance, please let me know how the audio and video looks tonight. Always helpful to get a little check from the people that are actually watching it on if the product seems to be quality enough. Looks like a little bit of a battle back here between Tyler Marble, or at least there was going to be, but it looks like they've already sorted it out before I've had a chance to actually get back to it. Here we go. One of the Musso Speed Shop drivers is working around the 11. And Andy Tico is getting ready to be under fire next. Going back here in the field. It looks like we do have side by side now with Andrew Niedert and Cody Colley. And Cody seems to be fading right now. He is struggling. Everybody else is pretty much single filed out for the most part. A lot of these guys, a lot of the battles aren't actually for the lead, but just battles throughout the field. Some of the battles going to be for the lucky dog. We have so many cars right now that are a lap down that you got to feel like at this point, if you are still on the lead lap, you did a heck of a job tonight with only 12 cars currently sitting on the lead lap. Richard Elliott is in that lucky dog position for now. So if the caution were to fly at the second, he would take over the lead. Jeff Barnes trying to close in as he is too wide with Andy Tico. Oh, did Andy Tico maybe get up in the wall right there? Think he's okay. But man, that got really close for the driver of the 65. Tight quarters racing will cause things like that. Man, Andrew Niedert is like, guys, I am not trying to get involved in any of this mess. Either let me go or go ahead. This is not the guy he's battling right here, the 65. The 14 is. But the guy that they're all about to be battling is still closing the gap, and that's Cody Richardson. He has passed Austin Fitzgerald. Next up on his bucket list here is going to be Andrew Niedert, who is just ahead of him, and then he'll set his sights on the top two of Jeff Barnes and Scott Naisland. In the 46, he is not going to waste any time. Boy, you see just how much faster he is, and of course staying out longer is going to make him look even more faster because he does have fresher tires than a lot of these guys. In fact, all these guys that he is currently sitting behind right now. He is going to have to contend with a couple lap cars on his way up there, but he's got to be careful. You don't want to somehow let one of these guys further back sneak back in on the battle. But maybe the bigger winner of today, as much as Cody Richardson is doing it right, is going to be Alan Pajari. I mean, up 28 spots from where he started. Heck of a run. And if nothing else, he can know that he made up a lot of ground and in a very, very stylish fashion. We saw him have a wreck a couple weeks ago at Atlanta, and he kind of wondered how would he bounce back from it, but he did the thing he does best. He just ran the whole race, ran it clean, and he is looking to have a top 10 finish, assuming that this thing goes green for the last quarter, as we are just about to be at lap 150, which would signal 50 to go here at Richmond. Scott Naisland, Jeff Barnes, Cody Richardson, your top three, and now Cody is going around the 14 of Jeff Barnes, and he is going to have 50 laps to make up 5 seconds on Scott Naisland. And if you think he can't do it, and you just watch, I think he's got this one in the bag, but he is certainly hoping that this thing stays green. You can't make any mental mistakes right here. Take it nice and slow. You know you've been the fastest all night. You don't want to accidentally make a mental mistake here. Do anything that could put yourself in jeopardy. Newest tires, fastest car. We'll see if he can catch him. Let's go back. Take a look at some of these guys. Up to, it looks like Tyler Marble is currently the last running car that is on the track in 33rd. Glenn Grigsby, the independent driver, in 32nd. Cody Matthews, 31st. Scott Glasso on pit road in 30th. Eddie Musso Jr. in 29th. Joe Musso 28th. Sean Kaltenbach is fading. He just got into the pits. That is why Eddie Musso and Joe Musso are 28th and 27th. Cody Colley in the 11 car is 26th. Carl Dodson, the pole sitter, the guy who we saw dominant for a decent portion of today as well with Cody Richardson, got himself a penalty, and now here he is running in 25th. Not the way he wanted his day to end. Brian Conklin in 24th for Team Marble iRacing. Austin Fitzgerald must have just come into the pits because we saw him a lot farther up. And now he currently sits back in 23rd. So, again, I don't believe here that I didn't think we would necessarily see another pit stop. But now maybe starting to do a double take on it. We'll have to see. Joshua Watson, 22nd. Ryan Shiro, 21st. Brian Curry, 20th. Todd Shiro. We haven't talked about Todd tonight, but I'll tell you what, that is a pretty nice looking paint scheme racing flag. And this racing flag, I believe Racing Flag is indeed the sponsor for the truck series. Those things are pretty cool. I wish I had one for myself. But they're actually this big, I believe it's an LED light that lights up and it'll show you caution. And it might even show you the other things, but make sure you go check them out. That's some cool stuff. Good looking paint scheme. Bill Benedict currently sitting in 17th, up 13 spots from where he started in the 90 car. Andrew Kotska, 16th. Andy Tico, 15th. Tracy Power, 14th. Kyle Oakley, 13th. And we're going to have a little battle right here for just a second, as it looks like the 36 trying to get around Glenn Grigsby. And it's kind of weird because these battles, you see what was earlier battles for that position are now more or less just battles between one guy who's in one position and the guy behind him who is in a completely different position, as Scott Naslin has went into pits. And that hands your lead over to Cody Richardson. And at this point, you just have to wonder, can Cody make it the rest of the way or not? I'd like to pull him in here for a quick interview, but I don't want to mess him up. I'll tell you what, we're going to drag him in here and ask him, so we'll be right back. And yep, sure enough, Cody right now is in the zone, so we will leave him alone because we certainly wouldn't want to mess him up. They are about to be within the final 40 laps to go here at Richmond. Cody Richardson continues to tick him off. We will see if he can hold the lead. Jeff Marble, gotta wonder, does Jeff maybe have something for the end of this thing? He currently sits 4 seconds behind Cody Richardson, and Jeff has clawed his way through the field the whole night so far. And maybe the dark horse of the night. I mean, I hopped in here when he was doing qualifying, and maybe not the fastest qualifier tonight. Not a bad position. He had himself in that 10th spot for qualifying. But it's a fight here at Richmond, and he has fought all the way to the front. And the question now is just going to be, can he hold that position for the next 40 laps? Brian Watson, this would be a heck of a comeback for the JBR e-racing driver who has not maybe had the finishes that he's necessarily wanted the last couple weeks. And here he could get himself a top 5 finish. Alan Pajari is well now inside the top 5, up 30 positions from where he started. Him and Brian Watson up 30 and 27 positions respectively. And you see the 95, that is Jacob Musso. He is letting Alan Pajari know, I am here and you need to get out of the way. Danny Gutierrez sitting back in 8th, up 4 from where he started. Johnny McCulcheck in 9th, up 16 right now from where he started. Richard Elliott in 10th, up 5 spots from where he started, and he is still the first car a lap down, but right now there's only 9 cars on the lead lap. So if we were to get a caution, this would trap so many of these guys a lap down. It would be absolutely brutal, and Jeff Marble has kind of got the gap now to consistent, maybe even closing it just a little bit. And you know, it's hanging around that area right now. We don't want to make any assumptions yet because we don't really know. Sometimes this will happen at a certain part in the run. Both drivers will kind of even out, run the same lap times as each other, but sooner or later one of them are going to prevail and start running faster than the other. But let's take a look at the lap times. And it looks like, we'll compare him here. Cody Richardson, you see a 23 and a 23 and a 23. It actually looks like Jeff Marble was faster the last 2 laps. And that last lap he was faster by 1/10 of a second. So now he is starting to catch up here as he is letting these lappers go by as smoothly as he can. Let's see what this lap here was. And it looks like that time Marble was actually, or so excuse me, I actually said that wrong. I do apologize. The last lap that they just ran, Jeff Marble was 0.2 quicker. The 2 laps before that, Cody Richardson was a 10th quicker, and the lap before that, he was a 100th of a second quicker. So they're kind of trading off right now. No need for concern just yet. Do your thing. You got the clean air. Don't burn up your tires here, because you know even if he gets there, he's still going to have to make the move of getting by, and that is a task in itself. I think once we hit 25 laps to go, that's kind of time to go. And whatever stuff you haven't used up, you're going to have to start using it up. But if these two are on the strategy of staying out the rest of the way, they are going to have to be really careful. And these tires are going to be just about as worn as they could possibly be here by the end of this thing. Let's ride on board here with Cody for a lap, and then we'll ride on board with Jeff for a lap and see just the difference. And listen for any tire squeal. Cody wisely letting Scott go there in the 22, but you see he continues to run in 5th gear, and that strategy seems to be working. Let's compare that to 2nd place running Jeff Marble, who is currently running in 4th gear. Boy, Jeff's hands are just so smooth right now. In fact, let's go to the actual cockpit view. Cody is running a heck of a line, Jeff is running a heck of a line, but watch how smooth this guy's hands are right here into the corner. I mean, you hear just about, pretty much, I would say, no real tire slide, and that tells me he is really, really taking care of the tires on that 15 machine. No surprise that the Fast Track Cup Series owner is up here running the top 5, because he is one of the best of the best. Andrew Diedart still hanging around the top 5 in 3rd, Brian Watson 4th, Jacob Musso 5th, Alan Pajari 6th, Danny Gutierrez 7th, 8th, Scott Naslin 9th, Jerry Isaacson 10th, Johnny McCallcheck. We don't want to rule out the chance for a caution just yet either, right? Because, I mean, we know that Richmond is a very, very busy track. Nonetheless, and actually I do apologize for taking the scoring tower down there real quick, but Richmond's a busy track, and you know that anything can happen at any time, because these guys are always going to be near each other, especially once we get, or not necessarily once we get towards the end, because we're already pretty close to the end if you think about it, but each lap these guys do, the harder it is to keep these cars under, because those tires just continue to wear out more and more. Little battle here between Carl Dotson and Cody Richardson. This is not for first. This is trying to put Carl Dotson another lap down. And that shows you the difference. It's always so wild to me how you'll see a driver when they are out in front just absolutely dominating the field. All of a sudden, they lose that track position and you just cannot get it back. No matter what you try, you start falling through the field. And that's why it's so important to maintain that track position, and something such as a speeding penalty, as we saw here tonight with Carl Dotson, cost him a chance at potentially his first win of the season. Ryan Haynes in the 39. He is going to try to get one of his laps back here. Currently sits in the 24th spot, up 4 spots from where he started. Not a bad run at all. Brian Curry in 23rd. We saw him pretty fast earlier. The Team Watson Racing driver not really showing what he really had tonight by being back here right now. We know he's a lot faster than what the position is going to show tonight, but nonetheless, I mean, any laps that you can run towards the front is going to be some momentum to take with you into the next race. Same ordeal for Joshua Watson, and I think this guy might have caught everybody off guard tonight, because, I mean, we have seen how fast he's been pretty much every week so far. So to see him finish potentially outside the top 15 for what would, I believe, be the first time this season tonight is pretty wild to think about, as he currently does sit 22nd. Putting the track map away, we are coming to 25 laps to go right here. Cody Richardson, let me tell you something. When I was in there, I just asked him quickly. I said, Cody, you want to do an interview real quick, or are you focusing? He said, man, I'm focusing right now. And you could tell by the determination in his voice, he wants this one bad, and he knows this could be his best shot of the season to get it. Get good at short tracks here, though. I mean, we've been to Phoenix. We talked about how important it was to be fast at Phoenix the first time, knowing that that's where the championship's going to be. But just being fast at short tracks in general, that's going to be one of those steps, and slowly becoming faster and faster to be fast during the championship race at Phoenix. And we heard from Austin Fitzgerald, winning you're in. And Cody Richardson knows that right now, and he is trying to do so. The only thing standing in his way right now is all the lap traffic that he continues to contend with each lap. And the gap between first and second currently sitting at 3.3 seconds. So Jeff Marble has kind of closed it up here. Not quite by a second just yet, but again, part of that is the lap traffic and who can get around it better. Another big stack up right here in front of Cody. And right now he knows he wants to get around these guys, but he knows he's got to be careful. He doesn't want to see them get tangled up in front of him. And he certainly wouldn't want to accidentally get one of them turned around in front of him. Going back to Jeff Marble, you see he's got a lot cleaner racetrack in front of him right now. And if we look at the blimp, I mean, you can see it. Look at what Jeff Marble has to battle right now and compare that to what Cody Richardson's looking at. And he's looking at a bunch of 2-wide racing action, and there is just nowhere to go right now. We're going to see 3 wide further ahead. Oh, that's always a little sketchy. Oh my goodness, they went 4 wide for a second on the front stretch. Cody Richardson is probably not liking any of that, but now he's going to try to get by. And that may have been just the right time to get the break he needed. They're going to try 3 wide again further back. They're not going to be able to do it as he works his way around Alan Pajari. The gap under 3 seconds now. Jeff Marble is going to have to go through all of this same traffic. The question is, will it maybe ease over a little bit more for him? We know that the general rule of thumb is these guys will battle the leader a lot harder because that is to lose a lap. But once they lose that lap to the leader, a lot of times they'll just say, well, there's no point in really battling anymore. We've already lost the spot. Oh, there's a little contact. Cody Richardson, Cody Matthews get together. Cody holds on. Man, that was a really, really close call between the 46 and the 10. Really, really slight contact. No damage at all to either car, but man, Cody is really, really wanting to get this thing over with now. These moments keep getting tighter and tighter. And now the Forbes Scott Glasso looking to go by that 46 on the inside here into turn 3. Jeff Marble has caught some of this lap traffic, and the first car he's going to have to get around here is Andy Tico. And this is where we'll see if that gap starts to stretch back out now that Cody Richardson finally is going to have himself at least a little bit of clean track to work with before he gets up to the next 2 lappers, which looks to be Joshua Watson and Brian Curry. But bad news for him is those 2 are probably not going to be too easy of a pass. Jeff Marble just now entering turn 3 as Cody Richardson exits turn 4. 17 laps to go here at Richmond. And we will run through your running order one more time before we keep it up front for the rest of the way. Jeffrey Sousa, 38, is off track. So is Jeff Shutt, 37. Patrick Stein, 36. Jared Bundy, 35th. And Joseph Grijalva, I believe I'm saying that right, is 34th. 33rd, Sean Kaltenbach, the last car that is still in the race. Currently sitting on pit road, Tyler Marble, 32nd. Scott Glasso, 31st. Glenn Grigsby, 30th. 29th, Cody Matthews. 28th, Joe Musso. 27th, Eddie Musso. Andy Tico, 26th. Carl Dotson, 25th. Cody Colley, 24th. Brian Curry, 23rd. Joshua Watson, 22nd. 21st, Ryan Haynes, 20th. Brian Conklin. Todd Shiro, 19th. Ryan Shiro, 18th. Richard Elliott, 17th. Bill Benedict, 16th. Kyle Oakley, 15th. And this is a good run here for Kyle. Let's give him a shout out. Top 15 run for the 17 car for SWM Motorsports as long as he can finish this thing off. Gotta think he's got to be pretty pleased with it. Tracy Powers, 14th. 13th is going to be Andrew Kotska. Alan Pajari, 12th. Jerry Isaacs, this would be another good run for this driver. Mad Sim Racing having a pretty darn good night. Andrew Kotska, of course, is another one of those Mad Sim Racing drivers who currently sits in 13th. In front of Jerry Isaacs, though, is going to be Jeff Barnes in 10th. 9th, Johnny McCallcheck. 8th, Austin Fitzgerald. 7th, Danny Gutierrez. Another one, just heck of a recovery after that spin early. Jacob Musso, 6th. Andrew Neidhart, 5th. Brian Watson, 4th. Scott Naslin, 3rd. Jeff Marble, 2nd. And Cody Richardson currently leading the way. And good news for all you Cody Richardson fans is the gap has stretched back out now to almost 4 seconds. And that tells me that 46 car has not lost any speed. It was just simply the lap traffic. And now Jeff Marble had to struggle with that same lap traffic. Slowed him down a little bit. And with over a 3.5 second gap with 12 to go, now it's probably time to where Cody had a spotter. I promise you his spotter would be telling him, just put it on cruise control, man. Oh, we got one slow on the back here. Looked like a little smoke on the tires. That was Joe Musso. Cody Richardson did not like seeing that. Oh, let's take a look at it here. You see he's already... Oh, wow. Boy, this happened early. My goodness. Let's back this up here. This was Joe Musso, excuse me. And man, this started back in the corner. Him and Danny Gutierrez looks like they're going to make some contact here. And, ooh, just some contact there. Maybe Danny getting a little hot. The 93 initially holds onto it, but it looks like he initially does have it saved. And just like he got loose. Let's take one more look at that. It's right on board, though, with the cockpit view. And there he holds on to it. And I'm going to leave it with he just got loose. I think that's what it was, unless there's a chance maybe he wasn't too happy with Danny, but I can't tell. I think he may have just got loose, so we'll leave it with that. 9 laps to go, though, at Richmond. Cody Richardson still leading the way. Jeff Marble second. The gap now at over 4 seconds. Scott Naisland is going to be the next driver that has a chance at second. And if we had enough laps left, Scott Naisland's strategy may work out, but not with the amount of laps that we do have left. 8 to go here, but Jeff Marble maybe going to be in some danger of losing that second spot. He still has, well, actually just under a second buffer now. And tell you what, Scott Naisland, he is trying to close that gap up pretty quick as Jeff does work his way around Brian Curry. Brian had such a good run earlier, running back now, but he kind of let Jeff go, and now he's going to let Scott Naisland go as he works around to the inside. 7 laps to go here at Richmond. Of course, the goal right now, if you're the leader, is just to make it to that white flag, because you know if we can get to that white flag, it'll mean no more cautions. And then after that, all eyes out in front. Make sure you miss anything that happens in front of you. Drive that thing home to the finish. It has been a good race so far here tonight. We had a couple cautions early, but since then, it has been a battle of who has had the best long-run car. And, I mean, the man tonight is Cody Richardson. He has done everything right. The car has been there. The driver has been there. And now he is looking for 5 more of those beautiful laps that he's ran so far. Scott Naisland did get around Jeff Marble for second. And, well, I'll tell you what here. The gap is at 3.5 seconds. Now 5 laps to go. This might be a little close. I don't believe he's got enough time to get there, but we'll keep an eye on it. Let's pull up the lap times here. And I know it seems like every time we think somebody's got it, quickly it switches, and man, it looks like the last 4 laps he has been running just about half a second quicker. And if you do that math, in 4 laps, he can make up 2 seconds. That would not quite be enough, but man, he is going to be knocking on the back door if he keeps up this pace. So this could get close. 3 laps to go. Cody Richardson still leads. And actually, I think he's going to be okay here because there is still 3 lappers between Scott Naisland and himself, and that is going to slow the lap time up as Glenn Grigsby kind of gets down on the bottom, kind of gets in the way of Scott, and each time something like that happens, it just helps Cody out more and more. And with 2 laps to go, the gap at 2 seconds, it's probably not going to be enough. Cody Richardson looking for 1.5 more perfect laps. Out of turn 4, he is going to see the white flag in the air. 2 more sets of corners here at Richmond. The gap is at 1.5 seconds. It's still closing. Not in the same camera angle just yet. I don't think Scott Naisland has enough. Out of turn 2, Cody Richardson can play it smooth from here. He had the fastest car all night, led early, fell back a little bit. He got back up front. Mad Sim Racing led the most tonight, and Cody Richardson gets his first win of the season at Richmond. Nicely done, Cody. Heck of a run. And I'll tell you what, that's going to be an excited man in the booth tonight. Scott Naisland brings it home second, and I think if we had about 3 more laps, then he may have had a shot at the win, but he's going to give a quick congratulatory rev to the winner, Cody Richardson. And Cody is going to burn this thing down on the front stretch. I'll tell you what, doing a burnout at this point should be pretty easy with how worn out those tires are. He played the long run strategy. And one of the only drivers that I saw staying in 5th gear tonight burns it down right in front of the fans here at the Richmond Raceway. Backs that thing to the wall a little bit, but who cares now? You can tear that thing up. You won it, Cody. And we will see if he can carry this momentum that he had tonight here at the first short track of what's going to be 3 in a row that we go to. If he can carry that on to next week at Bristol, and then the week after that at Martinsville. I think Bristol, you got to think, drives a little bit more similar to Richmond than Martinsville would, but this is good momentum for this team right here and this driver nonetheless. It looks like he is going to continue to burn this thing out. Probably do it until the engine blows up. That's a heck of a burnout too from the 46 machine. I'll tell you what, while he finishes burning this thing down, we are going to go get your top 3 in here and get them ready for interviews. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Richmond Raceway, where we have found your top 3 for interviews. Let's start first with third place finisher tonight, Jeff Marble. Jeff, you got a copy?
Yes, sir, Mr. Austin. How are you?
I'm good, man. Well, you had a pretty good long run car tonight. I mean, I thought at one point maybe you're going to have a shot at going up there to catch Cody. You fall back one spot to Scott Naslin, but overall third. How about that?
Yeah, that last pit stop of the race, I was just trying to get all I could and maybe hurt the tires just a little bit, and thought I was sitting pretty there because I mean I was 18 seconds behind at one point, and I knocked it down to about 4. So I used them all up, and then I seen Scott pit, and I'm like, and Fitzgerald pit, and some others. I'm like, with like, I don't know, 50 to go or whatever. I'm like, well, that's interesting. So, but Scott made it work. He got by me there late. I was not expecting to see him in my mirror, but he was there. He got by me. I'm like, yeah, just go. I'm not even going to try and block you and wreck both of us. So, real quick, let's go to the 2 weeks in a row. Really poor qualifying efforts. I've had great cars, and I have nothing to show for it as far as like maybe a win or something like that. So it goes to show how you need to qualify good here in this league, and you got to be up front, because last week at Texas we went caution free, and with the piss poor qualifying effort that I had, even though the car was awesome, it just ran out of time. And the same thing happens tonight. I'm stuck in traffic and got nowhere to go because of a poor qualifying effort. Had I been up front, you never know. So congratulations to Cody, another first-time winner here at FastTrack, and I love it.
Well, it may have been a poor qualifying effort, but you still brought home a podium. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
Sure, I'd like to thank Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist out of Richmond, Virginia. iRacingIFlag.com, Butt Kicker giving away a free butt kicker to our guys at the end of the season. Also, iRacing iFlag giving away an iFlag to one of our truck drivers. I'd like to thank my team. They put up with a lot of nonsense on my end and Tyler's end, and I'd like to thank them for sticking it out. And, of course, thanks to the Ghost Racing Network for coming on board and broadcasting with us. Austin, you do a fantastic job week in and week out. I see big things in your future, my man.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Your third place finisher, Jeff Marble in the 15 car. Let's move on to second place finisher, the man that kind of flipped the strategy on some of these other guys, Scott Naslin. Scott, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm good. Well, I mean, good strategy call, and I'll tell you what, I think you might have caught him, but first of all, we heard Jeff say he didn't expect to see you in your mirror. What were you thinking on that strategy call, and what more did you need there at the end to maybe get a win?
I was praying for a caution. Or praying for no cautions. I knew Cody was gaining on me on that run, and I knew I wasn't going to win the race. So I pitted and praying for no caution and try to get back to him. I probably should have done it a couple laps earlier, but I was contemplating the whole time praying for a caution at that time. But I know how much tire fall off here is, and just had to take a chance. If we would have had a caution in that last run, I would have been toast.
Well, either way, it looks like the strategy play almost worked out. Get yourself a nice second place finish here tonight. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
I would like to thank Don Wheaton Chevrolet, GMC, Buick, Cadillac, Bruzy Raceway, everybody at Hyperforce Esports, Brooks, Will, Andrew, Causey, all those guys. Jeff for putting on this league, and Ghost Racing Network. You do a fantastic job here.
Thank you, Scott. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is your second place finisher, Scott Naslin in the 22 car. Now we will move on to the winner tonight. He gets his first win of the season here for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. Cody Richardson from Ad Sim Racing. Cody, got a copy?
I got you, man.
Well, I mean, I was going to talk to you at some point, but I told the people, I said, let me ask him to see if he's focusing first. And, man, when I got in there, you sound like you were ready to maybe tear somebody's head off. You were absolutely laser focused. You were fast the whole race, though. How'd you do it tonight?
Oh, man. Like Jeff said, you got to qualify good here to do any good. This is my best qualifying I think I've had this season so far, and it turned into a win for me. All these guys out here every week are fast. If you get stuck back in traffic, these cars are so hard to pass with. You just got to do it from up front. Race started. Looked like P1 and P2 may have gotten into each other a little bit on the restart. Was able to take control from there. Blew my box a little bit on that first pit stop, fell back to fifth, and just started to ride, hoping that it was going to go green. I knew he had a good long-run car. Caught the leader and passed him the pit the same lap that I passed him there, came out and was just hoping for a green flag run to the end. I knew Scott had short pit that first one. In my practice and everything, about 40 to 45 laps, you'd make up the spots back to where you were, depending on tires and everything. Whenever he pit with 50 to go, I knew that it was going to be a close finish with him. I honestly was hoping he maybe got caught speeding or something, so I wouldn't have to worry about it, but I had teammates calling out that he was catching me the entire time, and just trying to do everything I could to make my way through traffic without losing too much time and beat him to the line. 2 more laps, and I think he would have won this race.
We did a heck of a job. We do go to 2 more short tracks after this, Bristol and then Martinsville. How are you going to carry the momentum here tonight to those 2 races and potentially the championship race, which is at a short track at Phoenix?
Well, I think we discussed earlier, Phoenix isn't really a short track, but, I'll give you that one. I like Martinsville. I like Bristol, although Richmond is by far my favorite of the short tracks. So I think it showed tonight, but I look to hopefully come out strong next week along with the rest of my team.
All right, sounds good. Well, before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
Yeah, first, thanks to you for the Ghost Racing Network putting this show on every week. We appreciate it. The broadcast really brings a lot to this. Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist for being the title sponsor of this Cup Series with FastTrack Sim Racing. Thanks to the Marbles for putting this on. Butt Kicker, iRacing, iFlag, all the sponsors for FastTrack. Love you guys being out there. Thanks to all the sponsors on my team, Pro Kart Concepts, Mad Sim Racing, Javicki Insurance, Great Hire HR, Alien Awards. I'm sure I'm missing a couple in there too, but they're all in the car. I'm sure you can see it. Want to say hi to all the friends and family that are out there watching. Hi, Mom. Do that every time I can. And make sure everybody checks out madsimracing.com and intotheapex.com. New podcast episodes every week.
All right. Well, thank you and congratulations on your first win of the season, Cody Richardson in the 46 car.
Thank you very much. Hopefully this won't be the only time I talk to you this season.
All right. I don't think so with the way you were driving tonight. We might be seeing you in the next week or so. Let's get into your finishing order for tonight. Cody Richardson, we just talked to, does bring home the win. 2nd, Scott Naslin. 3rd, Jeff Marble. 4th, Brian Watson. 5th, Austin Fitzgerald. 6th, Danny Gutierrez. 7th, Jacob Musso. Jeff Barnes, 8th. Andrew Nieder, 9th. And rounding out the top 10, Johnny McCulchak. Heck of a comeback for him as well. 11th, Andrew Kotska. 12th, Jerry Isaacs. 13th, Tracy Powers. 14th, Kyle Oakley. 15th, Bill Benedict. 16th, Alan Pajari. 17th, Richard Elliott. 18th, Brian Conklin. 19th, Ryan Haynes. 20th, Ryan Shiro. 21st, Todd Shiro. 22nd, Cody Colley. 23rd, Joshua Watson. 24th, Carl Dotson. 25th, Brian Curry. 26th, Eddie Musso. 27th, Andy Tico. 28th, Joe Musso. Cody Matthews. 29th, Glenn Grigsby rounding out the top 30. Scott Glasso, 31st. 32nd, Tyler Marble. 33rd, Sean Kaltenbach. 34th, Joseph Grijalva. I believe, I hope if you guys are out there watching, I'm not saying his name wrong, please do let me know. We'll have it right for next week. Jared Bundy, 35th. 36th, Patrick Stein. And rounding out the field in 37th and 38th, Jeff Shutt and Jeffrey Souza. It was a heck of a race tonight, a heck of a win for Cody Richardson. I hope everybody out there did enjoy. Again, I apologize for a little bit of the overlay issues tonight, but we were able to make it work. We will see everybody next time. Quick reminder that the next place Ghost Racing Network heads is to Ron Morse Racing's Tuesday Night Thunder at Talladega Super Speedway in the Xfinity Series tomorrow night. Don't miss out. We'll see you then. Have a good one.